So we are here at the Pennsylvania Farm Show, a must-stop for agriculture, and really we highlight that here in Pennsylvania because it's a huge part of our industry and economic development here in Pennsylvania. Secretary Redding, thank you so much for sitting down and talking a little bit today.
Thanks for forcing us to get in the seat, right, and away from the food court. But Happy New Year, happy farm show.
Yeah,
always good to see you.
If you haven't been down yet, make sure you try. If you can't make it this year, make sure you try next year. It's a great display of Pennsylvania agriculture and all aspects of it. So one of the things, we're sitting in a beautiful backdrop of the Pennsylvania hardwoods. You might not think of that as traditional agriculture in Pennsylvania, but that's a huge part of our economic driver here in Pennsylvania, isn't it?
It's a big deal. So it's 16 million acres. Right, so you've got roughly 29 million, so 16 forestry. Yeah. It's $1 billion, 60,000 jobs, 1.3 billion just exports alone, right? Yep. And then you think about all the tourism and the hunting privileges and opportunities. So we have included agriculture in a very broad way, brought the forest products industry in as a key part of that. The distinction, the USDA does not look at forestry as agriculture.
Well, they should.
Well, they should. We've said that. We put it in the economic development plan, so it's there, very prominent, and it's a driver of this state.
Well, and even in our region of the state, it's huge. I mean, we have huge forests and some really great, producers of hardwoods. Talk a little bit about the economic development piece of that. So why is that so important? I mean, we do ship overseas with a lot of this product, but a lot of it does stay in America as well. Why is that important? And hopefully people will see the value of our hardwoods too, because I think that's one of the challenges that we've heard about. Yeah,
so we have, I think we sort of take it for granted. I mean, I say every day, you sort of drive by it, you grow up around it, but it's in our name, right? It's Penn's Woods, and how do you celebrate that? But you look at the local communities, it's about stewardship and forest practices and the job creation from the sawmill to the technology, by the way, that I've seen in Pennsylvania agriculture. Don't underestimate every one of these sort of hardwoods and forest products industry facilities, because they are chock full of the latest in technology, right? But it's about a driver economically, locally, and the value of this. Wood is good, right? Getting people to think about culturally that wood is good. We have a society that loves to have, fabricated stuff. You got to support the industry, right? This is important to Pennsylvania.
There's nothing like a nice hardwood floor, and that's and we've gone so far away from the traditional, agricultural idea of hardwood that we've gotten away from that, which is sad. But and I think it would help our forests, it would help our economic development in our region of the state.
Right. So there's a lot of good work being done. I mean, we have been really proud of the Hardwood Development Council of the state. They've been aggressive in marketing and promoting and contributing to the national campaigns around promotion of hardwoods. But you see it on you see it here on this table. We see it throughout this building. The Hardwood Development Council display, by the way, is like one of the best in the whole farm show.
It's really cool. They also have the mobile unit they take around, which is really great. Another thing that we often talk about is dairy. So we can't have a conversation down here at the farm show without talking about the dairy industry. The calving corner, my personal favorite, really connects people with the dairy industry. But one of the challenges and headwinds that we've seen is high path AI crossing over from poultry into dairy in other parts of the country. What are we doing here in Pennsylvania? You've been leading the way. I know it's a little bit controversial, but your experience has really led on this. So talk a little bit about where we're at here in Pennsylvania with this.
Well, I think we were all surprised. February last year, when in Texas there was the first find, if you will, of high path AI that had historically been in the avian species jumped to the mammal, right? In dairy, and for a while they didn't know what it was, and then once they found out it was high path AI, this had already moved. So now you're 16 states across the country. 900 herds in different states. It's not in Pennsylvania. We implemented two really important pieces. One was a quarantine that restricted cattle movement into the state last April, right? So we have a really good sense. We're a keystone, and what folks don't always appreciate is how many cattle move in and around, right? But you've got to know where they're coming from. So that was part one. Part two was back about Thanksgiving. We really felt like we needed to have some mandatory testing. A lot of pushback on that because everybody wanted a national model. The reality is it wasn't coming. And we felt, okay, we've got to move. So we put in place mandatory testing. Pleased to say that we're on the third of a 2-week testing cycle and we've tested almost every dairy in Pennsylvania. Have not found it here, but it's also elevated the need to do biosecurity, engage the dairy industry and farmers, make sure that we know, what they're doing and where they're going. And the risk profile for Pennsylvania is such that you have a lot of dairies with poultry, right? So that was a concern to us. So we feel like we're doing the right things. We feel like we're in a good place. It's not a guarantee, but I know today that there's a lot more awareness and comfort about sort of what we're doing in PA relative to other states. We look to the far west, completely out of control. Yeah. Right? Where you've
They're in a bad spot.
They're in a tough spot.
And we don't want to get to that point.
No. 2/3 of the herds in California are under quarantine.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania, we don't have a quarantine. So it just proves that state leadership is really important.
Yeah. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Last year I think we talked a little bit about the overorder premium and the stranded premium. What are your thoughts on that? We're into a new session here, started yesterday.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think that's something we could accomplish this year?
Absolutely. It's one of top 3 for me.
Well, that's
right. We've said to the legislative
great.
team, like okay, let's go on.
Yeah.
Senator Vogel and we know what we need to do. We've set out some principles and all. I think we're gelling around as an industry around the recognition of the inequities. Now the question is how you want to fix it, right? Yeah. So we saw in the Senate bill, particularly, those principles sort of identified a lot of latitude to the industry and to the milk marketing team to do that. But this is the moment, I think, this year to get this done.
That's great. That would be wonderful to get done.
Yeah.
Whole milk in schools. I saw there was a bill yesterday. I heard on the news that the Senate's moving on that as well, which is great.
That's good.
You think that's in the works of something that we could hopefully see happen?
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I mean, listen, with Congress now and the new federal administration, the House and the Senate, G.T. Thompson's been leading on that. He's got a champion, by the way, in both the ranking member in the House Ag Committee, and he has a friend who was a co-sponsor in the Senate, Senator Klobuchar, who is a supporter of that. Now she's chair in the Senate Ag Committee. So I think it's aligning in the right way. We can finally get this done.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the farm show here.
Yeah.
We had really a bummer of a day with the snow. And the FFA kids, a number of them couldn't get their jackets, which is, I think it's sad and it's really a bummer. But at the same time, they're going to be able to have some more localized ceremonies, hopefully, within their schools, which is going to be wonderful for them, and maybe more people can attend. But the FFA is such a great opportunity for students all across. We were able to meet a bunch of them down here that day, and they fared the weather and went for it. What does FFA mean to the farm show, and what's the partnership look like when it comes to the farm show and FFA?
You can't really talk about agriculture in the future or the powering Pennsylvania without talking about FFA and 4-H. And anybody who gets a chance, they should step into that large arena for the Midwinter Convention and see the students, feel the power, and listen carefully to the things that they're being recognized for, right? And those values that we appreciate in Pennsylvania generally, but also within the agricultural community, are on full display there. When you get students who are being recognized for innovation and technology and their work in food and agriculture, and then to have these, the young green hands, as they're termed, get their free jacket, I think it's the coolest thing. It's the largest single order of FFA jackets to the national organization in history. 1,369 new members on one order getting their new jacket.
And we need them. We need that innovation from them and their creative ideas. I was able to interview a number of them, and I was so impressed. You couldn't leave there not thinking, the future of Pennsylvania agriculture is bright, and it's because of the next generation stepping up and engaging, and that's very exciting for us to see. Yeah, because we need them.
I want somebody to this is great to talk about ag today, but what's the future? I want somebody to be inspired to do this and continue to own these lands and deal with these issues that are really complex. That's going to be that FFA team, and we need their skills now more than ever.
Right, absolutely.
So anyhow,
and they're creative ideas. So.
They're great people.
Well, thank you for doing this. We appreciate you
making
yourself
available.
Thanks
for all you do. Thank you.
And if you haven't stopped down, like I said, stop down to the Pennsylvania Farm Show. It's a wonderful display of Pennsylvania's agriculture, and you will be inspired when you're here.